Hello everybody, it is the Dark Conservatarian, and I'm fucking pissed right now. But at the same time, I'm also pumped, because in a tweet of Owen's in recent activity, he said, "That's true, if he keeps spamming this rubbish in my mentions, then I probably will block him." Yes, rubbish that you cannot efficiently respond to, Owen. And also, yes, go ahead. Do it, bitch. Block me. You block me, I win, because it just proves of how much of a pussy you are. But if you don't want to block me, that's cool too, because if that's the case, well then I'll get the chance to forever torment you. Owen Macdonald is being a real cunt right now. You want to know why? Because he's doubling down on strawman that I've already responded to and bringing out another smear campaign against me. And he says he says in some earlier tweet that a smear is supposedly a lie. Well, guess what? Yeah, it's a lie that you would be calling me a racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe, transphobe, or whatever other kind of accusation of bigotry you want to throw at me. There's where the lie is. So it is a smear campaign for one thing. And also, this is a pathetic, utterly pathetic straw man that he has been thrown at me for most recent times. And it's just come to the point that I am sick and tired of this. I'm just too sick and tired to leave it unresponded to. And the main reason why I want to do it in a video rather than tweet about it is because I feel like that I can better argue with voice than with text, you know? And also, because I really like the idea of Owen possibly blocking me. I really do. But for right now, he pulls the straw man, and by the way, this is going to be pretty much my unfiltered, angry thoughts about him. He pulls a straw man that I oppose bodily autonomy. He said it at least 3 times, I noticed. So, on March 19th, 2018, and I did not see this tweet when it was tweeted because he did not tag me or anything, so that's the main reason why I did not respond to it originally, but ultimately he did put this underneath another tweet that he did tag me, or at least retweeted one of my tweets, and I did get the notification, so ultimately I did respond to it. But here's the thing. He says, quote, "Right-wing conservatives are disgusting. Take the Dark Conservatarian here. Fake LOL. Opposes bodily autonomy on abortion, values American capitalism over human beings, is transphobic, and expects people to conform to his conservative gender binaries." So yeah, disgusting. Yeah, I find you fucking disgusting as well, Owen, and this is not for your beliefs too, by the way. This is for your own personality and for this bullshit right here. Okay, so I said in my response tweet that I value liberty, and I believe in also the liberty for people to of their own free will help each other out. You know, private charity, and not be forced either by mob rule or government or whatever else forceful method you want to take to try and implement your socialist utopia. I value the former over that right there. Is transphobic and expects people to conform to his conservative gender binaries. You need to look in a fucking mirror, Owen, because this is some serious projections right here. I don't care if somebody wants to claim themselves to be some 3rd, 4th, 5th, or millionth gender or whatever else have you. But don't expect me to buy into it myself. It is you who want me to conform to the gender spectrum, bitch! Either conform to the gender spectrum or get called a transphobe. So yeah, fucking projection right here, seriously. Opposes bodily autonomy. Now this is the real kicker because I have responded to it so many fucking times. So the original tweet that I respond to, he says, quote, abortion is the right of any pregnant person, and anyone who opposes this opposes bodily autonomy and personal freedom. Discard your nonsensical patriarchal ideas about the body or take your place alongside fascists. The body is not your game. And so he says that he insinuates, clearly implies that pro-lifers, like, oppose bodily autonomy. But here's the thing, though. I mean, even if you want to account for all the true, full-on, hard conservative pro-lifers that, like, oppose drug legalization and oppose, gay marriage and gender transitions, they do not, like, argue off the basis, I oppose bodily autonomy. So you have, like, literally, you have, like, little to no evidence to say that they oppose bodily autonomy. Maybe you should actually ask them. And then there are all the libertarian pro-lifers, like myself, who just flat out not against bodily autonomy. And so I say to him in response that it was a pathetic straw man that what he did with saying opposes bodily autonomy, because that is clearly not all, and especially in my case, not true. I don't oppose bodily autonomy. And so he says, pathetic is an adjective to describe a conservative seeking to control the bodies of other people by demanding they adhere to their inane definitions of life. Inane definitions of life. I wonder if fucking Adam Lanza was thinking of that right before he was shot up Sandy Hook. Or, oh god, I cannot think of the guy's first name. Or if Cruz, you know, the Parkland shooter, was shooting up the Parkland high school. I wonder if that was what he was thinking, that he does not care about other people's inane definitions of life. I wonder if the bound torture killer, serial killer, that was here in Kansas so many years ago, I wonder if that was the same logic that he was following as well. Oh, I don't care about other people's inane definitions of life. I'm just gonna go on a killing spree. I don't care about what they define as life. I don't care if these people... I don't care about these people's right to life. I don't care about that. All I care about is death. Now, I'm not going to say that Owen is outright advocating for, like, psychopathy to that level or anything like that. And personally, I do believe that abortion is murder. But here's the thing. I don't go banging that around as the staple argument when it comes to abortion. I just don't. Because I know that it's not going to be productive and we're going to get into a debate on semantics there. But aside from that, and I'm not going to say that all pro-choicers follow this exact same logic. This is like the first person that had ever heard this type of shitty-ass psychotic logic ever. It was from Owen Macdonald. I mean, for crying out loud. I mean, if you are not going to care to even talk, I mean, it's one thing for you to, like, not really care so much about other people's definitions of life to the point that you do not believe in their own definitions of life. But if you say, no, I don't care about your own definitions or arguments on life, well, then that just is counterproductive, and you sound like you sound almost like a fucking serial killer. Or you're espousing the same logic that one could easily imagine a serial killer espousing. That they don't care about other people's lives. They don't care about their definitions of lives. All they care about is freaking death. And he just repeats the same logic after he repeated it in one video that I responded to, and repeated it when I had a debate against him. Like, what is going to convince him to think that that is just a shitty-ass talking point that ain't going to convince anyone, but in fact just make pro-lifers think that you are an utter psycho? Other pro-lifers, at least, I mean. You're sniveling little bigot, yeah, and guess what? You're a sniveling little spoiled brat, Owen. And you hold no bearing on the rights of a person over their own body. I have no bearing on the rights of a person of their own body. Yeah, and I guess if you want to like follow that logic, other people don't have bearing on what happens to the victim of a serial killer. Like I'm not following this logic right here. What does he mean by I hold no bearing? Is this supposed to be an utter shutdown of the abortion argument? Because it's not. It's not an efficient shutdown. I mean, obviously we are going to have these conversations on rights and right to life and so on and so forth. You're not going to shut down a debate just by having this arrogant objectivist attitude that you always, well, almost always anyways, espouse, Owen. And after I said that I oppose bodily autonomy is a strawman of my position, later in a tweet connected to this tweet, he says, he just doubles down on the strawman saying that I still oppose bodily autonomy. Like, what the fuck? This is another lurid post from conservative fascists and all-around scumbag dark conservatarian. Yeah, go fuck yourself. You're a utter slimy cunt bag, Owen. You're gonna be calling me a scumbag. See, I can call people names too. Notable takes include mocking rape victims. And he shows a picture of the title that I have of one of my streams. And it was my most recent stream talking about Mr. Medicare versus Sargon of Akkad, that whole drama. And here's the thing. I'm not even the one who came up with the idea of that title for that stream. Originally, I was going to call it Sargon versus Medicare. But then in one of my private group chats, it's your friend, Owen. Your friend Lonely Wolf, who came up with that definition. And I thought it was fucking genius because it references to Sargon. I mean, you immediately assume that because I chose that title, that I utterly sympathize, that I completely sympathize with Sargon and what he was saying at the moment when he said, I wouldn't even rape you. No, it was just a reference to Sargon. And on that note, by the way, I am not going to hold any opinion like, okay, I'm going to say that most likely I would not say what Sargon said. But at the time that I was subscribed to Sargon of Akkad, that was not a deal breaker for me, aside from all that. But it was your friend, Lonely Wolf, who came up with that title. Owen, fuck you. He said earlier, underneath one of the tweets of S-Mans, I have to admit that I came up with the idea of the title of that stream to troll Sargon fans. I don't want DarkCon blamed for something I did. So yeah, there's your utter scumfuckery on display, Owen. And besides that, it's just a title, but ultimately, I mean, I'm almost seeing some regret out of Wolf, and good on him for that. I mean, Wolf, you got a heart of gold. I'm going to just say that. But really, I don't regret putting that title because it got Owen salty to the point that he wanted to bitch about that and make an issue out of it. And of course, as S-Man said, in defense of me, he says he defended a rape survivor when a piece of shit mocked her sexual assault. The title of the video, We Wouldn't Even Rape You, references Sargon of Akkad. Exactly. He doesn't like Nazis. Yeah, that's another thing that we're going to get here in a second. And he's never said that it's okay to use racial slurs. And second thing that Owen doubles down is opposes bodily autonomy. Like I said earlier, he's doubling down on his strawman. And that just really utterly pissed me off because I told him earlier that opposing bodily autonomy, that Dark Khan opposes bodily autonomy, was an utter strawman, but no, he doesn't want to listen on that. He wants to run along with this strawman like it's a fucking soccer ball or a football, in his case, since he's from the UK. Like, he doesn't care. He doesn't care about finding out whether something is actually a straw man or something. I mean, I'm full on willing to explain, Owen, if you are in the least bit care to find out where the straw man is. I mean, if somebody said that I was straw man, I would ask them, how? Instead of just repeating and repeating the same thing that I've already explained is a straw man. And here's the thing, opposes bodily autonomy. No, bitch, I am for bodily autonomy. I am for people to go ahead and get their gender transitions, the physical or whatever else have you, if they want to. Let them be them. And I am for people to shoot drugs or for them to get any type of other body enhancements or body modifications. Or to even mutilate themselves like a fucking emo cutting themselves in the wrist or something like that. But in the case of abortion, you do not have just one party in the mix here. You have two parties. You have the mother and the unborn child. And for that matter, I don't even say that I want to ban abortion at 0 weeks. I mean, are you keeping that in mind, Owen? Have you forgot my position right there? Because I thought I had explained that in our debate. Maybe I didn't, but anyway, I'll reiterate it right now. And truth be told, from the moment that brain waves are detected, that being about 6.5 weeks, that is when that I would want it at most. If I completely got my way legally, I would want to cap it at 7 weeks. Anything before that is free reign of the woman. There's where I'm for bodily autonomy right there, Owen. And even in the case of after 7 weeks, it's not like it's not because of that one little thing right there. It doesn't mean that I completely oppose bodily autonomy. That's a case of rights coming in conflict with one another. It's a case of rights coming in conflict with one another. Have you ever heard of the freaking saying, my rights end when your rights begin? And in the case of a pregnant mother, their rights end where the fetus's right to life begins. That's my logic in that. And you and your followers can go ahead and disagree with that all you want. But for fuck's sake, get the record right. I do not oppose bodily autonomy, and you just want to keep on running along with this straw man as if it hasn't been said before. Hasn't been said and responded to before. And he says, thinks it's okay to call black people the N-word. Nigga, it's neither moral nor immoral. It's amoral. The word itself, nigga or even hard R nigger. It's the context that matters here. I mean, for fuck's sake. I mean, what if somebody was to go up to somebody and say, my nigga, to somebody who is legitimately their friend? Is it immoral in that case? I mean, even in the case of it being uncalled for that somebody uses the N-word, either nigga or nigger. I mean, it's rude, granted, but it is not objectively immoral, to the level that, say, doxing somebody, or committing murder, rape, or whatever else moral atrocity that you can think of, possibly. And here's the thing, Owen. So, again, to be just walking up to some random black person and say the N-word in either context, yes, it's rude and uncalled for. I'm gonna say it right now, to get it through your thick skull, alright? And as far as the whole Ham situation of him calling you a nigger out of rage, here's the thing. I wasn't going to take a position on that. You know why? Because I don't give a fuck about you. I don't care about you. I mean, if you were like a friend or if we were on good terms, I probably would have. I would have likely said it to Ham, that is a little bit uncalled for. I mean, for example, not that you'll probably care for this example at all, but I said that it was uncalled for Ham to maliciously call Lapis a tranny once. For fuck's sake. I mean, again, you probably don't care for that example, but there, I'm just throwing it out in the wind as an example that is in similar context, you know? In that case, you know why that I called out Ham for that? Because I care for Lapis. I mean, I actually consider her to be somewhat of a friend. More or less of a frenemy in kind of the same light as Ham, but still, I have some respect for Lapis in the same way that I have some respect for Ham. Well, not just some, I mean, it's a lot of respect. I'll put it that way. Nazi-inspired transphobic dreck. Nazi-inspired, huh? Nah, if anything, throughout my entire life, I would have disassociated the Nazis from me as much as possible to the point to say that they were left-wing. I mean, to say whether or not that Nazis are left or right-wing is a bit of a moot point right now, and I don't really care. I mean, I kind of give the benefit of the doubt, more or less, that Nazis are, at least socially, not economically so much, but socially right-wing. And so I don't really care about that. But that's beside the point. I'm not inspired by Nazis. What the fuck gives you that idea right here? Have you ever actually saw me, like, sympathizing with Nazis? Or sympathizing with Adolf Hitler, the king of Nazis, the idol of them? Or neo-Nazis or whatever? And Nazi sympathizers? You know jack diddly squat about me, Owen. It's quite obvious that you have not seen enough content about me to, like, develop a fully matured opinion about me. You do not know jack shit about my opinions, about my beliefs and opinions. And here's the thing. I had actually made a video speaking out against somebody who is speaking against interracial marriage. If I was truly Nazi inspired, I would not have been speaking out for interracial marriage myself. And here's another thing. I participated with Humane Mind in a stream where we were responding primarily to Richard Spencer in that debate that he had with Sargon of Akkad. Sargon of Akkad, side note, did not perform too well in that debate himself, but that's beside the point. I had responded to Richard Spencer and actually full-on called him a racist because he uttered underneath his breath that he does not understand as to how that the reason why that black people failed with running their countries when they done an isolationist, ethno-statist type of policy, the same type of policy that he advocates for. He said the reason why they failed is because they're black. I said, yeah, he's just an outright racist at that point. You think I'm Nazi inspired? Wouldn't I consider Richard Spencer to be a fucking hero of mine? Heil Hitler and all? Like, what the fuck? But it brings up the question. Do you even give a fuck, Owen? Do you even give a damn shit about getting a person's beliefs correct? Like, it's quite obvious that you don't really. And so, on a final note, Owen, why are you doubling down with this straw man, dude? Why? Like, you just giving me fuel. You just give me fuel right now to prove of how much of an utter piece of shit you are. Saying that I outright oppose bodily autonomy. I mean, I approve, I do stand for bodily autonomy. But I approve of bodily autonomy as long as it does not come in conflict with other people's rights. I approve of all people's rights as long as it does not come in conflict with other people's rights. And that would apply to bodily autonomy as well, especially when it comes to, in the case of abortion, when there's like two in the mix as well. Two parties, I mean. I'm going to pose this question to you again, Owen. Are you for allowing late terms? Just curious. I mean, if you're saying, if you are against late term abortions, if you are against allowing those, just outright against them, like legally speaking, well, then that would mean that you oppose bodily autonomy in that area as well. But that does not mean that you completely oppose bodily autonomy. Like, oh, you want to, like, literally restrict the woman and whatever that she can do with her body, like getting tattoos and piercings or implants or getting transitioned to become a guy or something. No, it just means that you stand for the rights of that late-term fetus to have the right to life. And that's with the majority, the super majority of pro-choicers, actually. But if you are for allowing those late-term abortions as well then I guess it's kind of a moot point. But really, you did not give me like a straight answer during our debate. Do you stand for women to go ahead and have their late-term abortions as well as all the other earlier abortions? Yes or no? Then explain yourself. And you know what's also extra shitty about fucking Owen's positions here of what he thinks about me? I was actually shared a screen cap of him like having a chat with some people in a private group chat, And here's the thing, the main reason why I don't want to be in any group chat with Owen is because he has this bad habit of sharing screen caps of just willy-nilly of when he gets his own fifis hurt. The only exceptions that I believe in my rule that screen caps of DMs should not be shared, the only exceptions I have is when like there's criminal activity being talked about or being committed in the chat, like doxing or whatever else have you, conspiring to conduct criminal activity, or the person is being a fucking liar. Like in the case that S-Man had to share DMs of his conversation with no bullshit to like expose his lies in some bit of drama. And in the case of this, if you want to like call me a liar for claiming that I have this screen cap right here, which by the way, the source of this screen cap shall forevermore remain anonymous. But if you want to call me a liar on that, I am going to expose this screen cap. But getting down to brass tacks, Owen said that I am anti-LGBTQ. Motherfucker, that is an outright... Either you are like the biggest idiot that I have come across on the internet, or at least one of the biggest idiots that I have come across on the internet, or you're just a straight up fucking liar. Like seriously, that is such a blatant straw man right there. Why are you saying that I'm anti-LGBTQ? I mean, I am for people of the LGBT community to go ahead and have whatever sexual relations that they want to. And I am for legally allowing transsexuals to go ahead and have their sexual transitions and so on and so forth. But you say that I'm still anti-LGBTQ? Just on that sentiment, you still gonna call me that? Why? Why? Is it just because I oppose the gender spectrum or something? Or not oppose it, but I disagree with it? Is that the main reason? You're going to say that I am entirely anti-LGBTQ just because of that one little issue? I mean, if that's your logic, well then go fuck yourself, Owen. That is a false dichotomy right there. That is utter bullshit. To say that because I disagree with the idea of the gender spectrum, that therefore I'm anti-LGBT, is utter bullshit. Because, again, I'm for the right for people to have their sexual intercourses, whatever kind that they want. Well, except for pedophilia, except for that. But that's a different story. And side note, to make sure that nobody rees at me, does any autistic screeching. No, I'm not trying to conflate supposed pedosexuals or pedophiles with the LGBT community. Don't misconstrue my words in that way. But I am for people to have their sexual relations and to have their sex changes if they want to. That makes me pretty pro-LGBT, wouldn't you say, if I stand for their rights in that area? Would I really be having friendly relations with Lapis if I was anti-LGBT? If I was like far right on social issues or whatever else have you, or I was anti-LGBT, would I really be cool with Lapis? I mean, you go ahead and talk to her. Ask her of what she thinks of me. I mean, unless she's recently changed her opinion on me, which I kind of doubt. As last I checked, we're on positive terms with one another, and I highly, highly doubt, no, I know that I would not be on good terms with her if I was anti-LGBT. But no, you still call me LGBTQ in a private group chat. That is some grade A level cognitive dissonance right there. And another thing, you say that I hate undocumented immigrants. To quote a good friend of mine, calling it hate is dishonest. Because here's the thing, hate is too strong a word to define how I think of that. I mean, I don't hate anyone really. I can't even really comfortably say that I hate Owen, but he's probably not going to believe me on that sentiment, but who cares at this point? And here's the thing. I have a friend of mine who was actually under the DACA program. He's originally an illegal immigrant. Nowhere do I hate him. I mean, you're probably not going to believe me on that sentiment. You're probably still going to double down. He hates undocumented immigrants. He hates undocumented immigrants. And honestly, Owen, if you're going to keep on doubling down on all these straw men, that is really pathetic of you. Do you really have... I mean, if you keep on just doubling down, saying Darkon opposes bodily autonomy, Darkon opposes bodily autonomy, well then what arguments? I mean, it shows of how lacking you are in arguments on the issue of abortion. Like, the thing with how I am for bodily autonomy, but in this case there's like two parties involved. I think that the fetus's right to life just overrules the bodily autonomy of the mother at a certain point. I mean, is that really too hard of a concept for your tiny little mind to comprehend? Like, fuck you, you dolt. So these were my thoughts on this situation. I've been holding it back for too long. I should have made a video a while ago, but this was the fucking last straw right here. When he just wanted to put forth the straw man and then double down on it later after I had explained that it was a straw man. So that's really all that I have to say about this circumstance. Owen, a persistent, straw-manning smear campaigner. It's utterly pathetic. Like, the guy seriously needs to find himself a freaking hobby or something. This is just sad. And if Owen wants to have like a stream with me, or anything like that, on a certain political subject, well, I won't turn down the subject. I mean, there's a reason why I did not care to. It's because I have a feeling that it's going to be unproductive if we two were to be like in a stream together, one-on-one. But if he offers up me debating him, I won't turn it down, but it's highly doubtful that he would actually want to stream with me. And I'm not going to go out of my way to ask him to stream. Like, don't get me wrong, this is not me asking him, hey, Owen, let's stream and debate this out. But if he wants to offer it up, I won't turn it down. My only request and condition on that is, though, that if he really does want to debate / stream, that I host the stream this time. Last time we had debated, it was on his channel. At this time, it's my turn. My turn to host it. But other than that, I really don't care either way. And Owen, if you're going to continue on with this bullshit, well then guess what? I'm ready for an internet war right here. But if not, if you're going to end it right here, that's cool too. But seriously, you want to continue this on? You're going to be putting up with one heck of a fight. So that's all that I have to say on this. I am the Dark Conservatarian, and Godspeed, y'all.